All right, seems like it's working, guys. I tell you, persistence. All right. Remember that, remember this. And so we're live on YouTube. Sorry. All right, so just remember this, guys. If something doesn't work at first, so I can hear myself. So I'm going to close this now. Actually, if I mute this, it's an amateur hour in here. All right, so I'm muted. Okay. All right. Okay, so welcome everyone. So we're now up to 39 persons. All right, so I am going to start because we have another session at 1:30 and I really wouldn't want to run into my colleagues' time. So with that being said, can everyone hear me all right? Can everyone hear me fine? Let me see, one more question. All right, so save your questions to the end or when I'm finished, and then we can quickly go through them. All right, so I'm going to share my screen real quick. And let me just make sure I'm not sharing anything I'm not supposed to share. Okay. All right, so let's see, desktop 2, master video clip. All right. And I don't know why this is asking me for a password. All right, so everyone should be able to see my screen just fine now. Please tell me if you can't. All right. There's so many bells and whistles. Okay. All right, so welcome to International Education Week, everyone. It's finally here. This is a moment we've all been waiting for. It's a bit blurry. Yeah, I know, Zeta, it's, you know, it's a bandwidth issue. Let me know if it clears up a little bit. Usually it starts out a little blurry and then it kind of stabilizes. And of course, I'm moving from side to side too, so it will help if I stop shifting. So I'll do that. All right. So welcome again to International Education Week, everyone. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Well, I personally been waiting for. My name is Jody, and I will be your host and moderator for all the webinars this week. Real quick about myself. I'm the Education USA advisor at the U.S. Embassy Kingston. I'm also the coordinator for the Ropes American Center. If you guys would like to reach out to me, my email address is right there, jajones@educationusa.org. And everyone, you're still good to go, because it'd be a shame I go through this presentation and nobody's hearing me or seeing me. So just drop a message in the chat if you can't. All right, so first things first, what is Education USA? So we are a U.S. Department of State network of over 500 international advising centers in more than 170 countries. Our network promotes U.S. higher education to students around the world by offering accurate, comprehensive, and current information about opportunities to study at accredited post-secondary institutions in the United States. All right, so what I'm going to go over in this presentation with you today, guys, is step 1. So as you can see on the screen here, there are 5 steps to US study. I don't know where this thing just popped up out of nowhere, but I'm going to hide it so you guys can see what's going on. All right. So there are 5 steps to US study, right? Researching your options, finance your studies, complete your application, apply for your student visa, and prepare for departure. Now, in this particular session, I'm going to go over step 1, but my colleagues throughout the week will be covering certain aspects of steps 2 and 4, especially, and step 3. So just register for all the webinars you can, my guys. Excuse me. So the very first thing I'd like for you to think about when trying to decide, trying to go through all the options, right? When you're researching options, the very first thing I want you to do is start with the end in mind. And why is this important? Because for one, we have limited time, right? I know it seems that, you know, the world, you know, is at your feet right now, which it is, but the truth of the matter is time goes by like that. So what I'd really love for you guys to do is do some self-reflection, have a discussion with your parents, your guardians, right, and figure out what it is you want to do with your life, right? So figure out what type of career trajectory you'd want. Think, just picture yourself, 5 6 at 21, 22, 23, whatever age you graduate, just think of what it is that you'd like to be, right? And then work backwards from there. And this is a good practice for almost any project. I actually start all my projects that way. I start out with how I want it to look, and then I work backwards, right? So this kind of helps me to organize myself and just organize the steps that I want to take. Right now, a great place to start with this is with data, all right? Because oftentimes we can think of, things that we want to do growing up. And so I give you a true story. So when I was growing up, right, as a child, as a baby, I really loved the smell of gas, right? I remember when my dad would go to the gas station, I actually just love the smell of gas. Yeah, that was a crazy kid, yes. And so I wanted to be a gas station attendant. Right now, I was a kid, right? This is many, many years ago. And, and I told my parents, my mom especially was like, are you crazy? So, so this is how humans are, though. We're drawn to things that, that pique our curiosity or that interest us, right? But it's not necessarily the right thing for us. Now, growing up a little older, as I get a little more sense, and I was, I started doing martial arts. I wanted to be a professional martial artist. Again, not the very best idea. So, so emotions, can very easily lead us astray. And which is why I encourage all my students to go with the data. Let the data guide you. Yes, of course, you want to do something you're passionate about or something you're interested in, but you also want to go with something that is marketable. Now, a great place to start with this is the U.S. Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Statistics, right? So this basically can give you an idea of the general trends and patterns of certain professions, right? So it's a very comprehensive database. They collect statistics on every sector you can think of, right? So it's a really good way to, and what I love particularly about this, it gives you like an outlook. They have an occupational outlook. So it gives you an idea of where of the trajectory of certain of each occupation, right? Another good website to scope out is payscale.com. Now, payscale.com is a little different. This is actually a user reported data website. So what it is basically, let's say hypothetically, I'm a civil engineer. So using the example I have up on my screen, I can report data to this website, and then what it does, it congregates or aggregates this data and gives you just summary statistics. So right now you can see the median salary for a civil engineer, and you can also select your location. So right now, as this example shows, the location is Kingston St. Andrew. So whichever location you're in, you can customize and get certain key statistics on a particular occupation that you have in mind. Now, after you figured out what occupation or what profession you like to pursue, the next step is to figure out what type of degree is needed, right? So there are generally two types of undergraduate degrees, right? You have your associate's degree or your 2 years degree. This is generally offered at community colleges or junior colleges. It may be earned in a terminal program or transfer program. So you're probably wondering, what is the difference? So a terminal associate's degree basically sets you up to start your career, your chosen career or profession upon receiving that degree. Whereas a transfer degree prepares you to enter a 4-year institution to continue your studies onto your bachelor's degree. So in other words, you'd be starting so let's say you've earned a transfer associate's degree. When you transfer to a 4-year institution, you'll be starting as a junior and not as a freshman. And if you're wondering what all these terms are, follow my fingers. So freshman, sophomore, and yeah, I didn't see how that would look on camera, and I'm flipping anybody off, junior and senior, right? So those are the 4 levels, right? So anytime you hear freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, those are the 4 levels they're talking about. All right, so moving on, we have your bachelor's degree, which is what most of us are familiar with. This is it's a 4-year degree and is offered at colleges or universities. Now, the very next thing I'd like for you to do is to start to just look at what's available to you. So I'm going to, after I finish this presentation, I'm going to pop into one of my favorite websites, which is Big Future, and just show you, what resources are there available to you. But in general, you can find this information anywhere. Simple Google. Google, guys, if you want to do biomedical engineering, just type in biomedical engineering US college, or it's as simple as that, right? And in fact, Googling is a skill, and if anyone would like assistance with that, I personally can help you. You have to know the right question. You have to ask the right questions to get the right search results. And give me 1 second. I see a hand raised. Just give me a few minutes to get through this, and then we can answer some questions in the end. All right. And the next thing is also to go to the college websites themselves. So after you Google is the first step. Then you actually want to go to visit the college website, right? And then look and read what the information is there, available to you. And also, guys, don't be afraid to ask questions, right? So my colleagues, throughout the rest of this week will be giving presentation. Ask them questions. Ask as many questions. They want you to ask them questions. So don't be shy. Don't be afraid. All right, so this is an old screenshot of Big Future. The interface has changed a little bit, but in general, it's the same. So essentially, Big Future allows you to just search for colleges, a comprehensive database. And what I love particular about it is the filters that they have available that you can narrow down your options. All right. So one thing I want to note and I want to emphasize is that there is no official ranking system for colleges in the US. So I know, contrary to popular belief, I know you have all seen some ranking systems out there, some ranks out there. Bear in mind that these are not official ranking systems, right? So these are independent ranking methodologies set up by independent organizations. So they're not tied or affiliated in any shape or form with the U.S. Department of State or U.S. Department of Education. So with that being said, the best college for you is the one that matches your needs. So this is a very personal decision. So a college may be great for your friend, your cousin, or your classmate, but it may not be the one for you. So it's very important. This is why it's good to start with that self-reflection, because it's important for you to find the right college that matches your needs. The next thing I want you guys to check out is the accreditation of the institution, right? So there are 2 main websites you can visit. So you can either visit the Council on Higher Education Accreditation, or CHEA for short, much easier to pronounce, right? Or the U.S. Department of Education database of post-secondary institutions and programs. Either one works. So you want to make sure that the college that you choose to attend or the colleges that you choose to apply to are accredited. Then the next step or the next check, and this is especially for my international students in mind, these are students who are not dual residents. So if you're not a US citizen or not a green card holder, you will need to apply for a student visa. So it's very important that the school in which you're enrolled or the school to which you are applying is certified by the Department of Homeland Security to enroll international students. And you can find that out by visiting studyinthestates.dhs.gov. right? Now, after you've done your due diligence and you've come up with a nice list of schools, the next thing I'd encourage you to do is to create a tabular sheet or a spreadsheet, right? So you can either do a spreadsheet or you can do a table in Google Docs or Microsoft Word or whatever word processor you have in mind. And it can vary. That this is just a simple template I threw up together. And if you guys need my help with a template, please let me know, right? So it's really simple, right? So basically, and you can set it up in different ways. You can have the colleges at the top, right, like as I have here, or you can have the colleges on the left hand side, right? So it all depends on you and what you prefer, what your preference is. But you need a table, guys. Why is this? Because after you've done your research, you don't want to be revisiting the same sites over and over again. You want to figure out which 5 to 6 schools you're applying to, right? And then you want to set it up in an easy to access at a glance table. So after you've done that, or in the process of doing this, I want you to also think of diversifying your options, right? So especially when you look at so when you go on Big Future, for example, they have different ways or there's a filter that you can select schools based on selectivity. You may ask, what is selectivity? So selectivity is basically the percentage of students that the school will accept, right? So for example, moving from least selective, so schools that are least selective accept anywhere between 61 to 90%, all the way up to most selective. These are schools that accept 10% or less. So the old or the proverb, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I want you to keep that in mind when picking your schools. Please don't select all 6 schools in the most selective category or vice versa in all 6 schools in the least selective category. Mix it up somewhat. So remember this, I'm going to go back to my brainstorming worksheet here. Remember what I had here? So this is, so this would be the table completed, right? As you can see, as we move from left to right, I have a nice mix of schools, right? A nice balance. So going from least selective to most selective. So this is how you want your final selection of schools to look. You don't want to have all your schools in one. You don't want to be applying to the same type of school 6 times, right? So just keep that in mind, that diversity is important. So with that being said, I am going to open it up for some questions. I think I did great on time, guys. What do you think? It's 124, 120. My watch is a little slow. Okay, so let's open it up to some questions. And yes, I can share the PowerPoint. And you can't see my PowerPoint? That's weird. Okay. Is anyone else having problems seeing the PowerPoint? Oh, it's blurry. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so let me come out of this. All right, so I saw some questions. And guys, I'm so sorry. I knew I had planned to do this Big Future thing with you, but I really don't want to run into my colleagues' time. So I'm going to answer your questions here. So let me stop this screen share real quick. All right, so I see 3 questions in the chat. All right, so which my parents are moving. Okay, to address it. Okay, so all student visa questions, my guys. Oh, really important. Let me share my screen again. I'm going to encourage all of you to attend every session here. All right, so let me share the screen one more time. All right, so for all my so as you can see, let's go through each of these sessions together. So this was a session you just saw, aka me, right? And then shortly after at 1:30 we have a financial aid presentation, right? And then after which we have an information session on St. George's University, and then followed by School of Visual Arts, NYC, New York City, and then we close the day with Florida Memorial University. Now, tomorrow we're at 1 o'clock. we start with an NCAA overview, student athlete overview, because I know many of you, unlike myself, are play sports in school and you would like to continue at the collegiate level, right? Then at 2, we have Broward College. 3 is College of Central Florida. Right, and then that's the end of Tuesday. Now on Thursday at 1 o'clock we have an overview of the student visa application process. So all your visa related questions, just reserve them for that time slot, please. Right. Then at 2 we have University of Rochester. At 3 is Florida International University. Right. And then on Friday at 1 o'clock for my grad students or my students who are interested in pursuing their master and PhD in the US, we have an information session about the Fulbright graduate student program. And if anybody doesn't know what the Fulbright is, I encourage you to look it up right now. You won't be disappointed. It's an excellent program. And it's one that I've never heard anything but good things about this program. It's a fully funded program, very competitive. So for all my students who are interested in pursuing their master and PhD in the US, I strongly encourage you to attend this session. Then we have an information session on St. Francis College, and then we close the day and the week with Lynn University. So a lot of exciting sessions, lots of good information coming up, guys. So I encourage you to sign up for all these webinars. So all the links are included. In fact, let me do this. Let me share this in the chat, all right? So just in case, there you go. So just in case you didn't get the webinar links for the other sessions, you have them right there. So any other questions? Okay, I see a few more, and I've done the thing that I've been trying not to do this whole time. I've ran into time. All right, so let me just answer these other questions real quick. Okay. So which universities outside of the top ranked offers full financial aid for international students that you know of? Okay, so I'm going to leave that question for my colleagues, right? All right, once you decide to go to College Lane and will not be able to sit the December SAT, will I still be able to attend a school in the fall? All right, so Ashanti, that's a very good question. And that's so guys, so my email address, let me go back to my email address on screen and share it. Actually, I can drop it in the chat. Oh, look at that. Look at me using technology to my advantage. So if you have any follow-up questions, guys, just shoot me an email, right? And like I said, let's try and attend every session this week, because most of the questions that you guys have, if not all, will be answered or can be answered by my colleagues. So with that being said, I'm going to end this session here. Thank you all so much for participating and attending, and I will see you at the financial aid session. Bye, guys.